Good day, everyone. Welcome to Blacklogic. The Senate just slashed bills in federal funding, NPR, PBS, and global aid programs are on the chopping block. So the question is America closing its ears to the truth? Now, Maureen Comey, the high-profile prosecutor tied to Diddy and Gasoline Maxwell cases, suddenly fired. We wonder what went down. ICE is ramping up arrests, but it's not criminals they're after. Why the dramatic shift in June? Black homeschoolers are sounding the alarm, exposing racist textbooks that call slavery immigration. You won't believe what's being taught here. RFK Jr. health team is in chaos. Mass firings and internal drama could derail his campaign promises. And finally, Florida's own Pam Bondi breaks her silence. Will she step down or double down? And more updates for Jeffrey Epstein. So the Senate passed a recession bill, 51-48, clawing back roughly $9 billion in federal funding, including $1.1 billion for NPR, PBS, and $8 billion in foreign aid. And VP Vance broke the tie. But GOP moderates Collins, Morzowski, and McConnell resisted. Through pepper funding eventually survived, critics warn about the effects on local stations and U.S. global influence. Why does this matter? Because it threatens hundreds of rural outlets, diplomatic reach, and humanitarian relief. And this stylistic use of recession sets a new precedent. So in Texas and rural pockets, public media isn't lifelong during storms. Now they could actually go dark. So a lot of the funding for the information getting out about massive storms and natural disasters is now being cut amidst the Texas flood. Now, when it comes to Maureen Comey, top federal prosecutors overseeing Diddy Combs and Gasoline Maxwell cases has reportedly been removed from both investigations. And this decision raises questions about the DOJ independence and whether these cases will stall under new leadership. Now, and expect some ripple effects in high-profile justice outcomes, because when we look at the Justice Department and when feds go after certain personnel, they have like a 98 or 99 prosecution rate. That they always get their man, so to speak. And this is a very high-profile case that they couldn't prove without reasonable doubt that Sean Diddy Combs committed the crimes of sex trafficking to a certain degree, and the RICO charge they had him up on. So again, this is a major fail for the feds. And so now they're cleaning house. They're getting rid of people. I'll give you more updates as more comes out. Now, data shows non-criminal ICE agents surged in June, mostly targeting visa overstays or immigration infractions, not felonies. Again, these are people that are still breaking the law. These are people still voiding their visas. Now, this signals a hardening immigration enforcement environment, and communities need clarity amid rising fear and legal uncertainty. But this is only applicable to those who overstand their visas. If you're within your visa, don't say nothing against the American government. I have a good point that you'll be okay. Now, if you're overstaying your visa and you're still in the country illegally, then you have a lot to worry about, because as you see here in this graph, now, just to kind of give you guys context, the blue line you see represents no criminal charges or convictions. And the dark orange line said at least one conviction, and then the light orange, at least one charge, no conviction. But if you can tell, they're going after people who they have on the books, people they have records on, who's overstaying their work visas, who's overstaying their school visas, etc., their student visas, all sorts of Einstein visas. And then again, when you look at Joy Reid and Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, they're probably looking at Melania Trump and the Trump family. Okay, because again, don't forget they were going after them when it comes to these visas, and that they're stating that the visa that she has, she doesn't qualify for, because she wasn't a world-renowned model or nude model or actress or whatever the case may be, but stating that she wasn't even well known. She just, beautiful white woman from a European country that President Trump, at the time, billionaire Trump, married and had children with. But other than that, she shouldn't have got a visa. And then she also naturalized her parents. Okay. Those are some of the quick reports. Okay. I'm indifferent about it, but I do understand the take when you are a Democratic Party, you're liberals, and you're standing up for illegal immigration, which I'm against totally. But nonetheless, when they're pointing these out, now let me give you some excerpts that they have here. It says, note, arrests were counted even if they did not lead to detainment. Multiple arrests of the same individual were counted separately. So again, these numbers are very subjective. Again, it says arrest quota raised from 1,000 to 3,000 people per day. And a lot of these accounts, the same person was getting arrested repeatedly. So again, take that with a grain of salt as well. Black homeschoolers. This is a very important topic. I may go deeper even in this evening broadcast, or even maybe tomorrow, regarding this particular news story, because voices across Black homeschool communities are calling out questionable curriculum that downplays slavery as immigration. Let's just be real, folks. Slavery was not immigration. Slavery was more than forced labor. I know the definition of slavery in some regards is forced labor, but do not forget what happened to foundational Black Americans in this country. They wasn't just forced to do work and not be paid. They were tortured. They was dismembered. They were raped. They were not just physically tortured. They were mentally tortured. They were sexually tortured. Anything possible that you can do to a human being, they did. They took the biggest and the blackest of us, and they warred against us, and they waged bets. They would take someone like me and someone of my stature, and they would sit back and have gladiator games like they was in Rome against two people who probably didn't want to fight each other in the first place. And if they did, they probably gave them incentives like, we'll give you 1 free day pass to go see the girl that we know that you like in the next plantation. We'll give you an extra meal. We'll let you off half day if you just, because I'm putting big money on this, you big black buck you. So there's more to cover than what people are saying, because again, slavery was nowhere close immigration. But the reason why this is being questioning, not only because they're trying to relabel slavery as immigration, but they're also whitewashing the history and in some regards, or embed racial biases. And without oversight, racial miseducation thrives, and parents are organizing for transparency and standards. Educational equity must extend beyond public schools. Listen, I know a lot of people are trying to eradicate slavery from history books, so the new generations don't have the same historical sentiments and emotions from what a certain particular group, Caucasians in America have done to Black Americans. History is history. We don't want to forget about when the Wright brothers, months after Charles Page created his flying machine. We don't want to forget about that. We don't want to forget about the great achievements. We don't want to forget about how the Constitution was constructed and why it was constructed. We don't want to forget about July 4th, 1776, the independence of America. We don't want to forget about any of that. But why does America want to forget about slavery? Because the stepchildren, the bastards, are still here, are we not? We're still in your face, and we continue to remind you of the atrocities and the torture and the forced paid labor and the sexual abuse and rape and all sorts of other obscene things that occurred to our ancestors. Every time you look at us and every time you read that book, there's a connection. And in some regards, there's an emotional response, both positive and negative, because you'll have some people that look at Black people as slaves as they are today. Or some people may have guilt of what their ancestors did. Hey, we got to stop trying to hide the truth here. It happened. Do we have to continue to blast it? But why are we trying to remove it from the textbooks? while we're trying to eradicate history, listen, it happened. It's history. We're still trying to progress, are we not? I digress. Key players on the RFK Jr. back HAS team have been let go, and some of them fired amid internal drama and clashing visions, and sources describe chaos and lack of unified leadership. And Kennedy's credibility takes a large hit because health policy and messaging fall apart under stress. Will this be a defining leadership failure because RFK is not a scientist? RFK is not a nutritionist. So how is he trying to eradicate all of these chemicals and harmful substances from our food? Because I believe that he cares for the American people. I think a lot of people were agreeing with RFK. They were like, you know, not just red dye, but we just have all sorts of chemicals that make us addicted to this food that we continue to eat. Now, granted, a lot of people have discipline. For you guys out there going to the gym, working hard, I go to the gym every day. I mean, 5 days a week. Working hard and staying in shape and eating healthy. The problem with a lot of food, and I had a discussion on Clubhouse yesterday about food deserts. And initially, I stated that there's no food deserts in America, but then we read the FDA/EPA definition of food deserts, and yeah, there are a lot of food deserts in America when it comes to certain urban areas because the lack of nutritious food, and a lot of food are boxed and canned with a lot of preservatives and chemicals to keep them from spoiling. But when I look at this, I believe RFK was the best choice in this position. Hopefully he can eradicate fructose corn syrup, and a lot of sugar that is not naturally in the food, that they add sugar to the food. Because listen, have you ever had a product where you had the healthy version and you had what, quote unquote, the popular version? You ate the popular version, you enjoyed the popular version for years. It's so delicious. Then you had the healthy version. You was like, ugh. And you started to look at the ingredients in the popular brand. Majority of the ingredients are based around sugar and salt. Two very addictive substances. And there was a book that I read. I forgot the author's name, but it was called Fat Chance by Robert L. Lustig. That's his name, Robert L. Lustig. Fat Chance. You guys go check out that book of all the different types of sugar that's in our food. Now, Pam Bondi, AG Pam Bondi, finally reveals whether she intends to resign amid all sorts of pressure. Now, a Bondi exit could reshape ongoing litigations, and future DOJ directions expect shifting alliances and political maneuvering because of the claim that Bondi made of tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with child porn or with children pornography. Let's just chime in on this because I think that you guys should really hear what AG Pam Bondi stated. Now we can't get any public recourse from her. Let's listen in.
Yesterday, all the Epstein files are missing. Can you confirm we still haven't heard from you?
No, the FBI, the FBI, they're reviewing, there are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn. And there are hundreds of victims. And no one victim will ever get released. It's just the volume, and that's what they're going through right now. The FBI is diligently going through that. I haven't seen that statement.
So what's important here, folks, is that she said that there's tens of thousands of video hours of Epstein, and that the FBI are going through these tapes, and the victims will not be released. So let's hear about these tens of thousands of videos that the FBI is going through.
The video from the island.
Again, we're going to give you everything we can, and people have to remember, we're not going to re-victimize women. We're not going to put that shit back out there. It's not happening, because then he wins. Not doing it. You want to hate me for it? Fine. Again, logical play out. If there was a video of some guy or gal committing felonies on an island, and I'm in charge, Don't you think you'd see it?
If you have access to it.
If I have it, period.
Right.
If I have it.
So
where else would it be?
Right. If you have it.
Right.
But you can't say that you have it.
No, we're giving you everything we have.
So far.
Everything we have so far is.
Have you guys gone over all the video that's available?
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. That's what takes so much damn time.
Right.
And
is there video from the island?
Not of what you want. The people out there have filled the void with can't wait to see X, Y, or Z.
Right, speculation. Now, I understand that you would never re-victimize these women and show this footage, but is there footage?
Outside of the only thing I can say right now is if there was footage of anyone doing anything else, we would have opened a case.
So he just.
So isn't that very strange, folks? Isn't that very strange how he was very meticulous in his responses and how he wanted to respond differently, but he waited and redacted and retracted what he was going to state, and then kind of gave some very empty, vague blurb about if it's what people wanted to see, then, I would have released whatever we had. So again, until I find out more information and more evidence, I believe there's more to these Epstein files that a lot of people in government who've been anointed and adopted, again, anointed by Donald Trump to basically cease fire on the Epstein files. And here's an update to the Epstein files, ladies and gentlemen. This is by the way of Meg Kelly again. She's doing some good reporting here. I'm not a big fan of Meg Kelly, but again, when you're doing good reporting, you're getting information, then they're your flowers. But nonetheless, I want you guys to listen in on this next video very keenly because the wording it's misaligned with some of the statements that this gentleman is making. So I want you guys to definitely listen in on this one. This is going to be very informative.
Alan Dershowitz that's gone totally viral. It was from an interview he gave Sean Spicer. I'm going to play it for you. I'm going to update it for you. And then we're going to talk about what, if anything, it all means for what we're supposed to believe about the FBI's files.
Let me tell you, I know for a fact documents are being suppressed. And they're being suppressed to protect individuals. I know the names of the individuals. I know why they're being suppressed. I know who's suppressing them. But I'm bound by confidentiality from a judge and cases, and I can't disclose what I know. But I hand to God, I know the names of people whose files are being suppressed in order to protect them. And that's wrong.
Just out of curiosity, without names, are these politicians, business leaders, both?
They're everything. And let me tell you, a lot of them are, at least one of them is somebody who was accused. Others are accusers. And the judges have said, if somebody calls themselves a victim, we're not going to give any information about them. But they may not be victims. They may be perpetrators. So we don't.
Now, that's very important because if you listen to what Kash Patel stated on Joe Rogan, that they're not going to re-victimize the victims. So now if you hear what this gentleman is stating, that the perpetrators are now stating that they're victims. So now they're covered under some sort of legal clause or the jurisdiction they're in. So when we look at this, folks, this is much bigger as anybody anticipated because he's talking about hand to God. I know some of the people that are stating that they're this, but a lot of the victims are actually the perpetrators. So again, this is hand over fist altogether, and we're going to keep you guys updated right here on Blacklogic.
We don't have information about false accusers. And we know there have been many false accusers who have accused innocent people for money, and those records are being deliberately, willfully suppressed.